Whoa, we're back with some Bleach Soul Resonance, and I wanted to read these two posts, mostly because I I want to talk about burnout as a concept and people's expectations with these games, essentially. So let's read this one because I think it's important. But we're this isn't going to be like, oh my god, Bleach Soul Resonance is doing well. Stop saying the game's dying. Blah blah blah. Say whatever the fuck you want. I really don't care. I will be like, oh, I don't think that's true, or, you know, I think we should look at it like this, but I really don't care. Say you hate the game, it's the most boring game in the world, you never want to play it again. I don't get paid to, you know, by Shueisha to shill Bleach, you know what I mean? If the game stops being fun, I'll stop playing too, but for now, I'm having fun, and I'm having fun creating content and, you know, talking to you guys, seeing the reception, etc., so I play it. That's how games should be. It's a game. Right, so we have, and I'm not going to show the names of the people who posted this. Typically, I just let it rip because it's not like I'm like, oh my god, go get this person. But these are opinions that people get very feverish about, and I just don't want people going after them or what have you. Because, of course, these are their private Reddit accounts. But has anyone else stopped having fun and started playing because of FOMO? I've been playing Bleach since January, and I genuinely enjoyed it for a long time. But over the last month or two, I've started feeling like I'm logging in out of obligation rather than because I actually want to play. I'm constantly worried about missing events, characters, rewards, and so on. Every new event feels less like exciting content and more like another task I have to get through. It's especially noticeable when there's no auto mode available. I'm a low spender, and I spent around €200 on the game since I started. Sometimes I feel like if I were completely free to play, I probably would have quit already. But because I've invested money into the game, sunk cost, it feels harder to walk away. Are there other people here who feel the same way and keep playing even though they're not giving it or enjoying it as much anymore? Is this just a me problem? Has the game become less engaging, or is it simply the nature of gacha games once you've been playing for a while? I don't mean this as an attack on the game at all. I think it's a great game. I'm curious whether anyone else has gone through the same thing. And if you have, do you have any tips on the game for a fresh perspective and making fun again? Here's the reality. The game won't become fresh until they make it so. Right now, I'm going through this with Dokkan Battle to a large degree, where I'm logging in on Dokkan Battle. I'm doing my dailies. I'm not really missing the events, but Dokkan Battle is a daily chore for me. It's just not that interesting this year. I still love Dokkan Battle. I still am looking forward to the big events in Dokkan Battle, but Dokkan Battle is not my priority. Let's go over here. And I'm going to talk about this all in with continuity in a moment, but not as high as I expected. Maybe White or Ulk are going to be the top sellers. And yes, I know it doesn't represent a real revenue, but at least it gives a trend. That's why I have this open here. And we can go to this capture. So let's talk about the first one and just say that there is nothing wrong with getting what you want out of a game and walking away. You put €200 into Bleach Soul Resonance and feel like you can't walk away. I've probably put over the course of my life $1,000. Maybe thousands of dollars, hundreds of dollars, if not $1,000 into Path of Exile. I got hours and hours and hours, months and years of enjoyment out of Path of Exile. But guess what? At some point I was like, you know, I'm just not that in the mood for ARPGs anymore. I'm just not that in the mood for it. I just don't have that desire to log on and play an ARPG, even though I think, and I believe with all my heart, that Path of Exile is the greatest ARPG ever made. If you want to get on and kill monsters, I believe that there is no game for it better than Path of Exile. It is one of my favorite games ever, but it's one of my favorite games ever that I probably haven't played in consistently, maybe a year, maybe more. And it's because we have this relationship with games where it's we have to be doing them all the time to enjoy them. Or you can never get you played from January. It's now the 6th month of this year. So you've essentially played for 4 or 5 months, let's say, of being really engaged. And then maybe another month-ish of not being so engaged, right? Doing your chores. That can just be it for you for now. You've gotten the experience of a game, the cost, the cost value of that game out, in that time. You know what I mean? Like, I've played a lot of Monster Hunter World. I played a lot of Monster Hunter Rise. And I know these are big name console games, so it's different than a mobile game, but it's just one of those things where I've never put 8 hours into a game that cost $60 that I enjoyed and went, where's the content? I need more. Because at the end of the day, did I enjoy the experience I had? Then it's not really that big a deal to me. And I think the thing that'll lead to a lot of people really growing to resent the games they play, resent things like Bleach Soul Resonance, especially the mobile games they play, is this need to like attach themselves to releases, attach themselves to FOMO. And that is sort of the nature of the beast. That's why I say I enjoy Bleach Soul Resonance a lot. I enjoy Dokkan Battle a lot. I loved Epic 7 at points in my life. Loved it. And I'm actually going to talk about Epic 7 soon here. I loved Epic 7 in my life. But I've always said, I've always maintained, there's not a free-to-play enough gacha where I'm not going to call it predatory. I'll never not call a game predatory that is a gacha, that is a mobile game. It just is what it is. I want to turn off my heater real quick. It's just what it is. So if you feel that itch of FOMO, if you feel like the only reason you're still playing something like Bleach Soul Resonance is because you feel FOMO, you got to get out of there. You really do. You just have to. You have to rip the band-aid off. You have to do. And I know, again, I'm someone making a video that hopefully people will watch. It'll trickle down. YouTube will give me money. You know, I have all of the incentive in the world to say, no, actually, it's really fresh. You're wrong. But I'm not going to do that because we got to keep it a buck at some point. You know, we got to keep it a fucking bean. These games are predatory, full stop. Doesn't matter how free-to-play friendly they are. But the thing I wanted to look at with Bleach Soul Resonance as we come back to these charts is, I think the game is done well. I see people sort of being like, you know, poo-pooing the revenue here. I mean, obviously it's not the full revenue. Obviously it's just trends. But I see nothing wrong with Bleach Soul Resonance stabilizing at $2.4 million averagely. We're going to go through a few games here that I would call successful. So Persona 5, the Phantom X. The Persona 5, the Phantom X, I would say, has been averagely successful. It's breaking in about 2 to 3 million every month. It's been out for since April 11th, 2024. It has a global version. It has a version that people are playing. It's a big name IP. You cannot say that. You cannot sit here and say that Persona is not a big name IP just because we're talking about Bleach or Dragon Ball. Persona is a massive IP, massively successful IP. Shadowverse Worlds Beyond, card game. This game is all sales, right? This game is all the buying of cards. Like this will tell you how many people averagely are actually participating in your ranked mode, right? Huge spike over here in July, which is right after the launch month, so June, July, and then pretty precipitous drop off, and then a stabilization. We're gonna go down here. Where are they? Seven Deadly Sins Origins has been out for a few months now. This game is also a console game, I believe, so these numbers cannot be completely accurate, obviously, but we can sort of see a big bump and then a little bit of a precipitous fall off here in the trend. But guess what? If this becomes its stable, if it stabilizes, and I just don't really see the excitement in pouring over the numbers, right? Because here is Epic 7. I said it before, Epic 7, for my money, for my free-to-play word, my heart and soul, Epic 7 is not only one of the best looking mobile games I've ever played, it's one of the best playing mobile games I've ever played. I used to tell people all the time that if you want the experience of playing Pokemon's PvP, like Pokemon like versus players, in a mobile game, I don't think anything's even come close to Epic 7. I love the drafting. I love that even if you're like a free-to-play or low spender, you can outdraft people who have better gear, better characters, dupes, etc. I love that shit. I think Epic 7 is really good. Doesn't mean that like it's not like Halcyon. It's not a paradise. Like it's not perfect or anything like I'm describing. But for my money, Epic 7 has by far, not even close, the best new player experience in mobile games, period. Complete period. And it's stable at 1.3 million to 2 million, sometimes 3 million. And again, there might be other things where it's like, oh, they're getting money from this source or this source. Sure. You know, sure. But it's gonna get to that point where, I mean, Arknight's Enfield, you know, massive game, had a 4 million month. I would say that with how much effort goes into this game, it's kind of crazy to see a $4 million month from something like Arknight's Enfield. Does it matter? No, because it's going to bounce back. It's going to stabilize. These are trends. Chaos Zero Nightmare, a game I put a lot of time into. Pretty stable. It had a few down months here. We can see 2 million, 1 million, definitely lower, much lower than the tens of millions of dollars it was making for a bit there, but that's how it's going to go, right? We get up to Dokkan Battle, which is a game that has huge peaks and valleys. Literally, outside of One Piece, and maybe just in general still, Dragon Ball as an anime IP is completely unbeaten, and yet, you know, we're seeing averagely about 8 million, 7 million, 10 million, 20 million, you know, up peaks and valleys. I mean, this is coming out of the anniversary. This is anniversary right here, right? And then we dip right back into that 7 million, that sort of loitering area again, right? Like, really good numbers, but it's one of those things where, you know, if you get too obsessed with numbers, you kind of lose the whole picture, which is that these games need to stabilize, right? Right? Even something like Zenless Zone Zero, which has a huge stable floor of like 10 million, right? Zenless Zone Zero, one of the most profitable gacha in the space, is, you know, one of the most like prolific companies in the space, is going to stabilize. It's going to find those things. Not everything can be Honkai Star Rail, where it makes $20 million on average, right? $20 million floor for Honkai Star Rail, you know, $25 million floor for Genshin, right? It's, don't get so upset. So long as updates are coming out for your game, so long as updates are coming out for your game, so long as there is life in your game and community effort in your game and events and celebrations, and the quality of the characters and stuff hasn't dipped, which they haven't at all in Bleach Soul Resonance, I'm not a stockholder. I don't really care about what this number says outside of just being like, oh, nice, they had a good month today. They're stabilizing. They're staying within what I'd expect. A little bump for a half anniversary, and they're maintaining. I mean, that's really it. Hopefully this makes sense. Don't be a victim of FOMO. Try your best to get out of it. It'll let you return to these games when you're in a healthier spot to have fun. Maybe Bleach Soul Resonance isn't a game you want to play for the next 3 months, and you come back in 3 months and you're like, man, I'm so charged to try to get all these new characters. But I've been Lone. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the club. We'll go make it, and peace.